हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवर धारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे, जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे, जय श्री राधे, जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद, जय जय प्रभुपाद। Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today we will be chanting this arati of Lord Jagannath. चतुर्भुजा जगन्नाथ कंठशोभित कौस्तुभा, पद्मनाभो वेदगर्भ चंद्रसूर्य विलोचना, जगन्नाथ लोकनाथ नीलाद्रि सह परोहरि, दीनबन्धुर्दया सिंधु कृपालोचन रक्षका, कंबुपाणि चक्रपाणि पद्मनाभो नरोत्तमा, जगत्पालको व्यापी सर्वव्यापी सुरेश्वरः, लोकराजो देवराजो चक्रभूप शुभपतिः, नीलाद्रि बद्रीनाथश्च अनंत पुरुषोत्तमाः, ताक्षध्यायो कल्पतरु विमला प्रीति प्रधानता, बलभद्रो वासुदेवो माधवो मधुसूदना, दयातारे कुंडोरिकाक्षो बनमाली बड़प्रियाः, ब्रह्मा विष्णु तुषे मे वंशयो मुरारी कृष्ण केशवा, श्रीराम सच्चिदानंद गोविंद परमेश्वरा, विष्णुर्विष्णु महाविष्णु प्रभविष्णु महेश्वराः, लोककर्ता जगन्नाथो महीकर्ता महजता, महर्षि कपिलाचार्यो लोकचारी सुरहरि, आत्मा च जीवपालश्च सुरासंग सरपालका एकोमेको मम प्रियो ब्रह्मवादी महेश्वराः द्विभुजो चतुर्बाहु शतबाहु सहस्रशः पद्मपत्र विशालाक्ष पद्मगर्भ परोहरि पद्महस्त देवपाल दैतारी दैत नाशनाः चतुर्मूर्ति चतुर्बाहु चतुर्नाना सेवितः पद्महस्त चक्रपाणि शङ्खहस्त गदाधराः महावैकुण्ठवासी च लक्ष्मीप्रीतिकर सदा महावैकुण्ठवासी च लक्ष्मीप्रीतिकर सदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय जगन्नाथ थैंक यू वेरी मच प्रभु हरे कृष्ण
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. So, we'll start with today's class, that is lesson 94. Before that, the invocation prayers. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर त्रिपाठी गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवाञ्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं त्वजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादां सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं जयतां सुरतोपं गुरुमहो मन्दमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदाम्बुजौ राधा मदनमोहनम् दिव्यात् वृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमः श्रीमद्रत्नाङ्गर सिंहासनस्थितौ श्रीमद्राधा श्रीलघुविन्ददेवौ पृष्ठलिलिसेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमान् रासरसारम्भी वंशीवटतटस्थित दर्शनवेणुस्वनैर्गोपीनाथ श्रियस्तु नः श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद Now we'll offer our obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. Namo Mahabhatanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurotise Namah. O most beneficent incarnation, you are Krishna himself appearing as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden color of Srimati Radharani and you are widely distributing pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. कृष्ण वर्णम च सा कृष्णम संगोपांगोस्त्र पार्षदम यज्ञ संकीर्तन प्राय यजंती सुमेधसा in the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons and confidential companions. Nana Shastra Vicharana Ke Nipuno Sadharma Sanstapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manya Saranya Karo Radha Krishna Padara Vindamajana Anandena Mattaliko Bande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugo Sri Jiva Gopalako. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis of Vrindavana, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are honored all over the three worlds and are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the divine couple Sri Radha and Krishna. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे. With this, I welcome all the devotees to the today's session of Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. We'll be studying lesson 94 today. But before that, let us recap what we have learned yesterday in lesson 93. Sanjeev Prabhuji, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanwas Pranam. Am I audible, Prabhu? Haribol?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, can
Yes,
hear you.
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dhanwas Pranam, everyone. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Wonderful Sunday morning. Thank you for the opportunity. So let me help revise myself with help from you all. The lesson 93 we did yesterday, which is chapter 56. The title of chapter 56, Shamantak Jewel and Krishna marries Jambavati and Satyabhama. So these are all wonderful pastime of the Lord. He does all these wonderful pastime. For example, he himself is the prime suspect here in the theft, murder, mystery, suspense. And then how he clears himself.
Prabhuji, your voice is not audible.
Hare Krishna, is it better now?
Yes, now it is
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, I have to keep the mic somehow close to me. So, okay. So once again, we will revise chapter 56, lesson 93. Chapter 56 title Shamantak Jewel, Krishna marries Jamvati and Satyamava. So here Krishna will perform wonderful pastimes like he will be a prime suspect in theft, murder, mystery, and then he will come out clean. And throughout that, he will perform wonderful pastime so that we all can, chant his glories, chant his pastime, remember him, purify us, and go back home, back to Godhead. That is the sole purpose of Lord's pastimes. So this particular chapter, as Prabhuji mentioned yesterday, and Charu Prabhu made this wonderful PowerPoint. So thank you, Prabhu. And thank you, Sir Prabhuji, for walking us through this chapter yesterday in details. I will just go through the highlights or the synopsis. So, as per the Wikipedia, seemingly this Shamantaka jewel might be the Kohinoor diamond as well, which everybody was behind. There are so many stories. That is a probability here. Now, this chapter is like in 4 sections here. Um, First, how King Satyajit received this Shamantak jewel. He was Dwarka Vasi, one of the king of one of the states within Dwarka. But still, by the mercy of Sun God, he receives this. And like people who are in Dwarka are Dwarka Vasis, supposed to be worshipping Krishna, having loving relation and devotion for Krishna, but here we see slight deviation. But again, these are all exalted devotees. They are performing pastime for the Lord's pleasure, and so that we can learn something from those. So the key lesson we learned yesterday here is if we deviate our worship from the worship, if we deviate from the instructions of the Lord and worship of the Lord to anything, then this is the result we get. So in Dwarka, then Satyajit installed this precious stone and worships that stone for good fortune. Now, here's the question: what was the unique quality of the stone? Like here, in this case, what was the unique quality we saw?
Hare
It's
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
yes, Mataji, yes.
The unique quality of the Samantaka jewel is that it gave, when it is worshipped, it gave 78 kgs of gold every day. And second one is when somebody wears it, death doesn't come and no calamities will fall on him.
Correct, correct. So that is the unique quality of this jewel, that death will not come, and it gives huge quantity of the gold. Thank you, Dipti Mataji. Wonderful. So then we can go ahead. There are 5 instructive lessons we learned yesterday, which we will revise today. So now the story we all went through, I will not repeat in detail. Right. So Satrajit, he gets this jewel through sun god. And then, what is the reason Krishna, what is the counsel or advice Krishna is giving to Satrajit, and why?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Krishna
Yes, Roshni.
asked Satyajit to give this money to King Ugrasen for the purpose of
Correct,
public welfare.
correct, correct. So, just like we read yesterday, what Krishna is saying, and he is giving us the same message in Bhagavad Gita also, right? Sarvadhamma paritaja, like leave everything, worship me, I will take care of you, surrender to me. So if we see closely, the message to Satyajit also no different. Like you are in Dwarka, you are amongst devotees, I am here. So why you have to worship any other Kohinoor or anything? I am here, right? So he gives this message to to Satyajit to give the jewel to Ugrasen, because Ugrasen is the king of all the Yadus, and he should then use it for the public welfare, not you. So in essence, don't stop my association, worship, anything else. But did Satyajit listen to it? No, he did not, and we saw the results here, and that is what a key takeaway. If we don't hear to instructions of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, or through our Guru Parampara, like through Srila Prabhupada, then trouble is definitely bound to happen, and we will study more of this, right? And then there are several other themes we went through, and we will revise that, right? So then the storyline begins. Satyajit has the jewel, right? Now, can someone narrate short way, like how did Satyajit lose this jewel? What happened? Quickly here. I have underlined also in 4 lines.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Her brother,
Yes,
his
Mataji.
brother Prasen, when went for the hunting, he wear on this jewel, and when he was on the way on the road, he was killed by lion,
Correct, correct.
and then the lion got that jewel, and lion also was killed by that Jamban when
Yes,
he entered his cave,
yes,
and
yes.
so this was
And Jambavan took it and gave that jewel
received this, and
to his
he gave
son.
it to
So
play
yeah, yeah.
to his
Doesn't
son.
it look like a very well directed picture story? So nicely all past time, right? Here's it. Satyajit gets the jewel. His brother is taking, but he's overpowered by lion, and then lion here goes the Jambavan. Here comes the entry of Jambavan. Now we Sarat Prabhu walked us very nicely yesterday throughout how Jambavan come into the picture. Actually, he is a devotee of the Lord from the time of Ramayana, from Satyuga, so many lakhs of years, and he had that desire to have a battle with someone very powerful and equal. Right? He had that desire because he did not get that fight, and Lord Krishna always also want to have that desire. So who gives him the best fight is his own devotees. So here Lord Krishna also want to enjoy that and give that pleasure to Jamban. So those were the what you call behind the story narratives with nicely Sirath Prabhu walked us through that how this jewel, the Jambavan, and then there were so many questions that if this jewel was supposed to protect the person who is wearing it, then how come this Prasenjit got killed or Prasenna, right? So the one of the explanation here is because Prasenna might have removed it, and then that's where the lion would have attacked them. The other is they defied the instruction of Krishna. So unauspiciousness bound to happen whether you have the jewel or anything in the world doesn't matter. Ultimately, that's material. Defying the instruction of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will put us into trouble, right? So then what happens? We saw how very nice picture here Prabhuji brought for us, put for us here like Krishna and Jamban, they have this 28-day fight now, and then ultimately Jamban realizes who he is fighting with. So he then surrenders and say, yes, you are Lord Ram who have come back to give me this pleasure, and I am mistakenly fighting with you. Here's your jewel, and please marry my daughter Jambavati. Right. So there were some other questions we had. How come Jambavati, being the daughter of Vanar, like Jambavan, is so beautiful and humanly? That also were answered. There were possible stories and pastimes we have that could have happened. But overall, now next question for you all. How many days did this fighting last, which I did mention, and what is the like background or learning for us through this? What does
28,
that emphasize? Yeah.
28 days, Prabhu. The
28
fight
days.
took place 28 days.
Yes, Dipti, thank you.
And from it, we can learn the divine and earthly conflict between Krishna. Krishna is divine and Jambavan was earthly.
Yes, Dipti Madhuri. Thank you very much. So that is
Well, it is 28 days and nights.
28
No,
days. Nights.
no, they correct. They are not stopping that. Okay, evening now we'll not fight, but full 28 days, 28 nights. And Sarat Prabhu, you also pointed out in the boxing ring when we do normal fighting, the people get exhausted in like less than 30 minutes. Here it's 28 days, 28 nights. So these are
three,
all
3 minutes, not 30
yeah,
minutes.
like three minutes max. Yeah, one round. So whatever that. So but here it is so long, and these are transcendental power, and they're giving pleasure to each other. The more they fight, they give pleasure. Finally, Jambon realizes. So wonderful, right?
Yeah,
So
Prabhuji.
again, yes,
Yeah,
yes, Prabhu.
also we can see that a devotee is even at least 28 days he realizes that he is the Lord. There are demons like 17 times Jarasangha was defeated, never realized. There are
17
so many
times. Yeah,
cases,
yeah.
right?
Yes, yes. So that is
Yeah,
good. So that is again a devotee. He doesn't mean harm, but he had
yeah,
that desire to get the pleasure
pleasure. Yeah.
of this Raudra ras or Virya ras, and then okay. So again,
भगवान एक एट ए टाइम बहुत सारे लोगों के डिजायर को फुलफिल करते हैं
yeah,
इसीलिए
yeah,
इसीलिए
exactly.
सबका ध्यान रखते हैं भगवान।
करेक्ट वही देखिए ना एकदम पूरा स्टोरी सा लग रहा है ना मूवी का कि एकदम
Yes,
टकाटक
yes.
मस्त एकदम टाइमली हो रहा है
No, but we have to also understand very quickly, on that point, how long he waited for that. Sharad Prabhuji gave 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, right? So how long he waited for that
वेरी
fight also? It doesn't happen so
करेक्ट
quickly.
करेक्ट
Yeah,
करेक्ट
that is
उत्साह
also,
निश्चय धैर्य धैर्य
uh,
कितना धैर्य।
yes and then further the three like philosophical significance of this 28 days of fighting as Mataji said it symbolizes the eternal struggle. So there is wonderful verse in Bhagavad Gita we have. I will just read for everyone here. I think you all will know, but I will just oh, what happened. Oh, okay, let me find that verse. Yeah, I kept it ready because I cannot remember. So Krishna says Bhagavad Gita 15.7 Mama Ansha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Mana Shashta Indrani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. Like we the living entities are eternal fragmental part, But because of this conditioned life, they are always struggling. That's what Krishna says, with six senses, including mind. So that is the Bhagavad Gita reference. Then it also gives the allegory of the internal conflict. Like we have this Adi Bhut, Adi Devik, Adhyata Klesha, always there. So this particular fight is that allegory for that. Then it also gives that meaning that real fortitude. Real fortitude means the real valor, the real bravery, right? This real courage and patience shown by somebody who is suffering in great pain or facing great difficulty. So the real fortitude here is we take understand our place in cosmos, and then we surrender to higher realities. Okay. Now, if we do this, we understand this, then what is our real gain here? That also we will study. And I think there is one more verse in Bhagavatam saying, okay, this is the other. Like if we follow this and align with the divine mission, then what is the verse? What do we get? We'll have more verses also, but here, then Lord Brahma, I think he says this, right? Then Daya Bhak, like Tatteno Kampam Sushi Sushamikshamano Bunjana Evatma Kratam Vipakam Radvag Vapurvir Vedadan Namaste Jivetya Mukti Pade Sadaya Bhag means one who aligns his goals and who patiently waits for the causeless mercy of the Lord, then that liberation becomes his rightful claim. So if we follow the instruction, despite of the difficulty that will come, it is not that we'll not get anything. One, we will get internal pleasure, and then the devotion becomes our rightful claim also. So we have to follow that. Okay, so now this
प्रभु
is
जी इसका एग्जाम्पल बहुत अच्छा दिया है। जैसे पिता की
yes,
जो भी
Mataji.
प्रॉपर्टी है उसमें बेटा जो है ऑटोमेटिकली उसका
Correct,
हकदार होता है, मगर
correct.
ही हैज टू वेट।
He has to
ऐसे
just
ही
live.
हमें भी
Yes,
राह देखनी।
yes. तब तक कुछ गड़बड़ नहीं करनी चाहिए. That's all.
हाँ,
Then that was this philosophical signal of the significance of the perception. So thank you, Raksha Mataji. Yes. So this is the importance of humility and surrender in the face of sacred. Means if we align our devotion to that, and then also it identifies Jambavan's awakening to Krishna's identity represents a transformative moment of spiritual epiphany. So Prabhuji also explained what is epiphany. That is a moment of sudden great revelation, right? That suddenly, like if we continue on this spiritual path, following one fine day, like it is mentioned that Narad Muni, how he continues, then immediately one day there is a transformation. So that will happen. But the condition is we continue. So that is it. Let's continue in the pastime now. Here, now he finds the jewel. He comes back to Lord Krishna. Well, clears his image. Sorry, he doesn't come back here. He calls Satrajit, and he gives him the jewel. But Satrajit doesn't take back that jewel. What is the reason? Why does the Satrajit does not take back the jewel? And what else he does to atone the offense?
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Yes,
जब
Akshamata.
सत्राजीत वापिस जाम्बुआन से ज्वेल मिल गया, समयंतिक मणि मिला, फिर उन्होंने भगवान ने सत्राजीत को बुलाया कि देखिए ये आपका मणि है, पूरा स्टोरी बताया कि ऐसा ऐसा हुआ था और मैंने कुछ नहीं किया था ऐसा। फिर उन्होंने मतलब सत्राजीत को बहुत ही बुरा लगा कि मैंने ऐसा किया, कि भगवान के ऊपर ऐसा आरोप लगाया। फिर उन्होंने अपना ये अटोनमेंट के लिए उन्होंने कहा कि मैं ये मणि और मेरी बेटी जो सत्यभामा है, दोनों मैं आपको अर्पण करना चाहता हूँ। तो भगवान ने कहा कि नहीं, मुझे ये मणि नहीं चाहिए, मैं आपकी बेटी को स्वीकार करता।
Correct. So
तो
main
इस
thing
तरह
is
से भगवान ने मना कर दिया कि मुझे मणि नहीं चाहिए, मगर मैं आपकी बेटी को स्वीकार।
he did not take that because he wanted to atone for his sin, and then um, so the sharing went off. 1 minute.
प्रभु जी सत्यराजीत भगवान ने एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया मणि को। सत्यराजीत लेना
हाँ।
चाहता था मगर वो ने भगवान ने नहीं लेना
Yes,
चाहते थे।
correct. So the Lord did not accept. He rather accepted, but he did accept Satyabhama as his wife. And then here, from Jamvan also he accepted like his daughter, right? His daughter, yeah, Jamvati. So um, the
Satyabhama.
from Satrajit, his daughter Satyabhama. From Jambavan, his daughter Jambavati, right? So, in the chronological sequence, as I understand, second wife is Jambavati and third wife is Satyabhama. But in the order of importance, actually, it is Rukmani, then Satyabhama, then Jambavati. All the 8 Ashtavaivs, they are given in the order of importance. So that's what Sarat Prabhu also explained, order of importance versus chronology. Now, when Lord Krishna was fighting with Jambavan, he was with many days, 28 days and night, but his friends, as we know, Krishna asked them to go back, and then they were praying to who? Goddess Durga for the safety. So we also discussed when is it right and when it is not right to worship the demigod. It is for if it is for protection of the Lord, or um, if it is for the protection of the Lord, or if it is for achieving the Lord, like the gopis did, then it is okay. But if it is like, as we saw, to get more material pleasure, then it is not appropriate to worship any other demigod. It is better we always continue worship Krishna only. So continuing, then here we see like the next theme, resolution and marriage. There are so many good narratives here. So here's the again we continue on this discussion. One of this is significance of aligning oneself with the divine will, right? So again we covered these two Bhagavad Gita verses. There is one wonderful verse in Chaitanya Charitama also, that Jiver Swarup Hoy Krishnera Nitya Das Krishnera Tatashra Sakti Veda Veda Prakash. That means the living, this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying, and he says that the living entity is always the part and parcel, servant of the Lord. He cannot never become the complete. So that is it. Then there is wonderful poem um, from Bhakti Vinod Thakur also. What is the blessing we get if we accept this? कृष्ण दास ये विश्वास कर ले तो और दुख नहीं, right? Krishna bolbe jave, pulak kahave, jorbe anke bolita. So in Bengali, very wonderful, he says, if you just understand that the spirit soul is eternal servant of Krishna, you will never have any more sorrows. So simple, but then it becomes complicated for us. Then Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, just chant Hare Krishna and your eyes will fill with tears and body will feel transcendental shivering. Just chant Radhe Krishna, everyone chant. This is again one of the wonderful Kirtan. Maybe the Kirtan team can sing in the wonderful tune, right? So that's very nice. So this is the significance of aligning oneself with the divine will. Then there are many more, learnings. We continue. So now, next, continuing with this, the 5 key takeaways here, right? So we covered that. I think we covered some. So now I have a question here. So from this narration, what do you think was the cause of, or what is the, do we learn? What was the cause of Satrajit misfortune? What was the cause here?
His greed for gold was the main cause.
Correct. His greed, and he did not.
Obey
Refused
Krishna
to
counsel.
give to Krishna.
Yes.
Instead of worshipping the Lord, he worshipped the demigod.
He worshipped the demigod, he got that and he followed. And main thing here is refusing to
Accept
refusal
Lord,
to
yeah.
the order of the Lord. That is a problem. But if we have all this material inclination too much and we deviate from Krishna, then we will not be able to adhere to the instructions of the Lord and his devotees. So it is very important we Yena Kena Prakrina, whatever we are, I think one key learning is to understand we may have material desire, we may not have whatever Moksha Kama Udharati, right? Tivrena Bhakti Yogina, that is that wonderful verse. But we should not leave our alignment to Krishna. Whatever we want, we ask to Krishna, then he will take care, right? It might take time, like, but devotees are patient. Even if we are practicing devotees, we are sadhak, not devotee. But still, if we continue to worship only Krishna, then everything he will take care. That is one thing, if I have to take away, is important. Now
Prabhuji, may
then,
I chant that verse?
yes,
अकामो सर्वकामो वा मोक्षकाम उदारति तीव्रेण भक्ति योगेन यजेत पुरुष परम.
that means whether we are, if you may explain also, Mataji, in Hindi, what that means.
मतलब
Whether we
अगर
are
आपके जितने भी काम है तो भी भगवान के पास आइए, अगर नहीं है फिर भी आए, मोक्ष की इच्छा है फिर भी आइए, मटेरियल इच्छा है फिर भी आए, कुछ भी इच्छा हो फिर भी आप भगवान की तीव्र भक्ति में लग जाइए. इसका ये
that
मतलब
is
कहना
our
है.
catchy. That's our, that should be our life and breath. बस कुछ भी हो, Hare Krishna
Yes.
बोल और
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
wonderful, Mataji. Okay. So then, one key, another key. So one is just keep hold of Krishna. Other is we have to understand that this material world is not a safe place. No one reputation is safe in this world. So what are the examples here? The other examples we have from Shastra, which explain that our reputation is not safe. For example, I will give one, Mother Sita, right? She being the Mother Lakshmi also in the Satya Yuga. This is Satya Yuga, right? Still there is a washerman or a dhobi. They speak ill of Mother Sita, right? So that is again significance. What happened to Pandav and Draupadi? They are so strong devotee, still they face the difficulty, right? How Draupadi is hair is mishandled, she is so. Then again, what is Lord teaching? This material world not a safe place. Then we see Parikshit Maharaj, right? So great devotee, great grandson, but he did one mistake. One mistake, he put that snake, and then this Stringy, he become upset. How he treats like the Lord, like if we see those verses, so this material world not a very great place. So we see this here.
दुःखालयम शाश्वतम.
Dukhalaya Shasatam. Yes, Mataji. So here Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also exactly that this is Dukhalayam, exactly that verse, Dukhalayam Shasatam. Then here we see 933 again, Krishna says that this place is not there, not it is Asukham Lokam. So this place is not. So that is about Asukham. Then here also, like, even the reputation of great personality is at stake. Like in Bhagavatam, this chapter, Daksh Maharaj. Which one is this? Sorry, this is the Shringi. How he is speaking ill of Maharaj Parikshit. Like he is calling them very low. Like this is also a great Brahman, but still he is calling him like dogs and all. What not he says. Then we see Sati and Daksh. How Daksh he curses Lord Shiva, and how he speaks so ill of him, while the Lord Shiva is so not ordinary personality. So the point is, like, this place is not the great place to be. There will be all kind of miseries. Reputation can anytime be hampered. So we just have to hold to the mercy of the Lord. Sorry, our practice of devotion and hold to our parampara. Right. So that is the key learning. Then this story of Shamantak jewel. Sorry, anyone saying something? Okay. So this gives us dynamics of divine relationship. So this is the main purpose why Krishna is coming here, right? He is coming here to perform these pastime along with his divine relationship, like with his eternal mother, his devotees, so many eternal queens. So these are all divine relationship and dynamics. So we can read, we can talk, and then we can purify ourselves, right? So these are the key themes, the key outlines, right? And all these pastime we continue discussing and purify ourselves. However, this particular pastime is not yet concluded, so we still have a lot more to come on how this Shamantak duel will, cause more trouble for other devotees also. So with that, I stop. Anybody want to add any more context or thoughts or learnings? I think Radha Vinod
Yes,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji,
Yes,
one
ma'am.
point that भगवान की सेवा में लगाना चाहिए, और दूसरा वो है कि हमेशा भगवान की जो भी इंस्ट्रक्शन है उसको फॉलो करनी चाहिए,
Correct.
और हमेशा गुरु परंपरा में रह के भक्ति को आगे बढ़ाना चाहिए। जितने भी हमें कोई भी डिफिकल्टी आए, हमें आगे बढ़ता रहना चाहिए बस।
Guru Parampara.
दिस इज द टेक अवे फ्रॉम।
Very important. Yes.
और
Radha
दूसरा है
Vinod.
कि अगर हमारे पास बहुत ही ऑपुलेंस है और भगवान की सेवा में नहीं लगता है, तो फिर वो इनसिक्योरिटी बनता है हमारे लिए, डर बनता, डर को अब ये सब जो भी दुर्गुण होते हैं वो हमारे में आ जाते हैं, क्योंकि हम इतना पॉजिटिव हो जाते हैं कि वो खोने का डर लगता है। कभी ये मेरा इतना प्रॉपर्टी है मेरे पास, तो ये खो जाएगा, तो मतलब कोई ले जाएगा, चोरी हो जाएगा, मतलब इनसिक्योरिटी, सिवियर इनसिक्योरिटी होती है। तो ये सब से बचने के लिए बेहतर है कि हम भक्ति में आगे बढ़े और भगवान की सेवा करें बस।
And Bhakt should not have a large amount of gold beyond the capacity, because there is fear of theft also.
Yes.
So it was a takeaway.
Yes, Mother. Yes, Nitesh Kumari. Thank you. Yes, this is the important thing is we must have as much as Srila Prabhupada says to keep the body healthy and mind, and we can do the devotion. Radha Vinod Prabhu, please share your thoughts.
Yeah, just one, whenever you get any benefit, any boon from a demigod, it's always going to be troublesome. Whatever way you look at it, it's never going to be happy. We don't see any example that demigod given, and we can debate a lot of things. This happened, that happened, and all that. But all that boon is temporary. It's a misery at the end, right?
Because they do
And
not
that's,
purify, but Krishna
it doesn't purify. Yeah.
Krishna purifies us.
तो बोले भगवत गीता में एक वर्ष है जो स्टार्टिंग में अमृत है, वो अंत में जहर है।
Jara. Yeah, exactly. Yes. That makes sense.
Enjoyment in that tamogun is like that, right? So tamogun. Okay. Thank you all. This was wonderful learning, and thank you, Sarat Prabhu and Chavi Prabhuji, for wonderful slides and lesson. We are eager to hear more, so let's hand over to Sarat Prabhu for next chapter. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, and thank all the devotees for participating. Now, till now, we saw the story how Syamantaka jewel was obtained by Satrajit, how it got lost, then how he got it back, and how Krishna married Satyabhama and, of course, Jambavati. And then what happened, that we'll see in today's class. Today's class, it is lesson 94 and chapter 57. Satrajit murdered and the jewel returned. In very brief 2-3 minutes, I'll tell you the gist of this chapter. Then we'll go through the slide. Now, this chapter describes how Lord Krishna, after murder of Satrajit by Satadhanva, and had Akrura bring the Syamantaka jewel back to Dwarka. This we will see in this today's story. Now, the prelude to this is when Lord Krishna, he heard that the Pandavas had been burned to death in Varnabrata, that is in the palace of Lak by Duryodhana. He knew actually the truth, but as a common person, when somebody hears, he would do what? He would go there to sympathize. He went to Hastinapur with Baladev to maintain the principles of protocol, worldly protocol rather, even though he knew everything, this report was false. Now with Krishna out of Dwarka, Akrura and Kritavarma, they incited Satadhanva to steal the Syamantaka jewel from Satrajit. Now yesterday we knew that Akrura and Kritavarma, they are the great devotees of the Supreme Lord. We'll see why it happened and why they behave like this. Now, bewildered by the words of Akrura and Kritavarma, the sinful Satadhanva, he murdered Satrajit when he was sleeping at night and stole the gem. And now Queen Satyabhama, she was overcome with grief at the death of her father, and she rushed to Hastinapur to report this sorrowful event to Krishna. And then what happened? Krishna and Balram, they returned to Dwaraka to take revenge, that is to kill Satadhanva. Now Satadhanva went to Akrura and Kritavarma separately to beg for help at this time, because he knew that Krishna is going to kill him, but they refused him. Then he left the jewel with Akrura and fled for his life. Then Krishna and Balrama, they pursued him, and Lord Krishna beheaded him with his sharp-edged disc, that is the Sudarshan Chakra. And when the Lord could not find the Samantaka jewel on Satadhanva's person after killing him, Baladev told him that Satadhanva must have left it with someone else. Then Balram, he suggested that Krishna should return to Dwarka to find the jewel, while he would take the opportunity to visit the king of Videha. Why? This we will also learn. Thus, Lord Balrama traveled to Mithila and remained there for a few months, not months, for a few years, during which he taught Duryodhana the art of fighting with a club. Duryodhana became his student. And as you would have marked in Mahabharata and in Srimad Bhagavatam, Balrama was inclined toward Duryodhana. He was favoring him in many of the decisions. Then what happened? Lord Krishna returned to Dwarka and had the funeral rites performed for Satrajit. And when Akrura and Kritavarma heard how Satadhanva had met his death, they fled Dwarka. Soon there were many disturbances in Dwarka, mental, physical, and many others. They afflicted Dwarka, and the citizens concluded that the cause of this trouble must be Akrura's exile. The city elders explained that once there was a drought in Kashi, and the king of Kashi gave his daughter in marriage to Akrura's father, who was visiting that place. And as a result of this gift, the drought ended. The elders, thinking Akrura had the same powers as his father, declared that Akrura should be brought back. Now, Lord Krishna knew that Akrura's exile was not the main cause of disturbances. Still, he had Akrura brought back to Dwarka, and after properly honoring him with worship and greeting him with sweet words, Krishna told him that I know that Satadhanva left the jewel in your care. And since Satrajit has no sons, his daughter's offspring are the just claimants to whatever property he has left behind. Nevertheless, it would be best for you to keep the troublesome jewel in your care. Just let me show it once to my relatives. Now Akrura then presented to Krishna the jewel, that is the Shamantakamani, which shone as brilliantly as the sun. And after the Lord had shown it to his family members, he returned it to Akrura. That means it remained with Akrura. Now let us go through this slide. Chapter 57 unfolds the tragic consequences of greed and betrayal. Yesterday in the class we saw how Satrajit, he refused to hand over the Shamantaka jewel to Ugrasen, the king, and how he was so greedy about getting 78 kgs of gold every day. And this resulted in Satrajit's murder. Satrajit got killed. That we saw by Satadhanva, culminating in Krishna's killing Satadhanva and the recovery of the Shamantaka jewel. This is the gist of this story. Now, when Lord Krishna heard the Pandavas had supposedly been burned to death, supposedly means they had not been burned to death, but everybody thought they have died. Because after the Lakshagriha got burnt in the veranda outside, they found 6 bodies in the morning, and everybody took it that the Pandavas and Kunti, they have died here. Then what happened? he went to Hastinapur with Lord Balrama to maintain the principles of worldly protocol. If somebody dies in the family or relations, one has to go just to show his grief at the death of that person, and it is a worldly protocol and one should do it. And that's why Krishna and Balram also did it. Even though omniscient, he knew the report was false. Now Krishna's hunting grief, ever of Pandava's survival, Krishna alongside Balrama visits the Kuru kingdom, performing the role of mourning visitor. He feels sorrow for the supposed loss of the Pandavas and Queen Kunti, illustrating the intricate web of appearances and truths. The truths are far behind many a times. What comes in the public, something else, but the truth remains hidden for some time, but after some time it surfaces. Now, illusion versus reality. Krishna's pretense reveals the profound intricacies of reality amidst illusion. Now, the Lord was quite aware that the Pandavas had escaped the assassination plot of Duryodhana, although the world had the false news that the Pandavas and their mother had perished in the fire. This was known to Krishna and it got revealed later on when from Varnavarta is about 19 miles northeast of Meerut, and they came out 16 kilometers later in general area Samastipur district of Bihar, about 16 kilometers, in which a tunnel had been built by a person who was sent. Okay, we'll go to next. With Krishna out of Dwaraka and Akrura and Kritavarma incited Satadharma to steal the Syamantaka jewel from Satrajit. Now, Krishna and Balrama, they were out, and that's why the Kritavarma and Akrura, they found this opportunity to instigate Satadhanva to get the jewel from King Satrajit. Now, bewildered by their words, the sinful Satadhanva, he murdered King Satrajit in his sleep and stole the gem. Now, then what happens? The seed of manipulation and murder. Once a symbol of protection, the jewel becomes the catalyst for Satrajit's tragic fate. Now, as we have learned, this jewel had two qualities. The first was it gives 78 kgs of gold every day. The second, anybody who wears this jewel, then misfortune cannot come near him. But this Samantaka jewel became the cause of misfortune for Satrajit, and he got killed because of this. Please remember that when he was killed, he was not wearing this jewel. But why this misfortune came? Because he committed the Vaishnava Aparadha. What Aparadha? When Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he suggested that this be given to the king, Ugrasen, and so that this gold is utilized for the general populace, Satrajit, he flatly refused. That's why all these things happened. Then Akrura and Kritavarma, they cunningly incite Satadhanva against Satrajit, exploiting his greed and desire for the jewel, leading to his untimely death. Why they did this? They were great devotees. This we'll discuss, we'll try to understand why this happened, because if we understand that, then it can be known that even devotees can even go to that level. You have to be therefore very, very careful about all these things. And illusion versus reality, Krishna's pretense of not knowing that the Pandavas had been there alive reveals the profound intricacies of reality amidst illusion. Now let us discuss why Akrura and Kritavarma they hatched the conspiracy. Like I told you yesterday, Akrura is a great devotee of Krishna. So is Kritavarma. Now Akrura and Kritavarma they joined the conspiracy because they wanted the jewel for Krishna. They knew Krishna wanted it and it was not given to him. Now they knew that Krishna wanted the jewel for King Ugrasena and Satrajit did not deliver it. Others say that they joined the conspiracy because they were disappointed in not having the hand of Satyavama. Some of them incited Satadhanva to kill Satrajit and take away jewel. Now, Kritavarma and some say even Akrura, they wanted the hand of Satyabhama in marriage. And surprisingly, Satrajit had promised everyone, that he would give his daughter in marriage to them. They were disillusioned, disappointed because of this also. This is another reason. Now, why did great devotee like Akrura join the horrible conspiracy? Srila Prabhupada says that the answer given by great authorities like Jiva Goswami is that although Akrura was a great devotee, he was cursed by the inhabitants of Vrindavan because of his taking Krishna away from their midst. Earlier we have heard the story how he came to Braja and took Krishna and Balrama from there. And therefore, similarly, Kritavarma was also a devotee, but because of his intimate association with Kamsa, he was contaminated by sinful reactions and he also joined conspiracy. Now, this instance shows the dangers of offending pure devotees and associating with envious persons like Kamsa. And it seems that even great personalities like Akrura can be affected by bad association or offense to pure Vaishnavas. Now let us see what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. His explanation is a little different. He says both Akrura and Kritavarma were furious with Satrajit because he had insulted Lord Krishna and spread false rumors about him in Dwarka. And under normal circumstances, Akrura and Kritavarma would have been most pleased that Krishna married the beautiful Satyabhama. Being pure devotees, they could not actually be unhappy about this match, nor could they become jealous rivals of the Lord. Therefore, they had an ulterior motive in behaving like his rivals. Therefore, what do we learn from this? We learn that we should not ever commit a Vaishnava aparadha. The second thing, do not associate with sinful persons. Like the other day, I was telling you, there are five most sinful things to do, and anybody who is doing, he is committing sin. There is no doubt about it. But anybody who mixes with him, he makes friendship with him, he also reaps the same harvest. Therefore, if we know that there are sinful people, we should not associate with them. Now, you may ask one question in our day-to-day life. We meet so many people, we deal with them. What do we do? Then deal with them as far as that business goes, as far that work goes, and not after that or not beyond that. We should not be associating with sinful people. Now, a person who steals gold or any valuable thing, or drinks liquor, or goes to bed with the teacher's wife, or kills a Brahmana or a learned person, these four are all most sinful. And also the fifth one, that is one who keeps company of such people. This is given in the Chandogya Upanishad. Now, we heard the story till now. Now, then we'll see what happened. taking advantage of the opportunity of Krishna and Balrama being away from Dwarka, Akrura and Kritavarma, they went to Satadhanva and said, why don't you take the Samantaka jewel from the king? Now Satrajit promised his jewel-like daughter to us, but then gave her to Krishna instead, and contemptuously he neglected us. So why should Satrajit not follow his brother's path? That is, Prasena, he got killed. That's why Satrajit also should be killed. This is how Kritavarma and Akrura, they instigated Satadhanva to not only kill Satrajit, but steal the Samantaka jewel from them. Now, his mind was totally influenced by their advice, and as it is, he was wicked only. Then he murdered Satadhanma when he was in his sleep, and this way, Satadhanma shortened his own lifespan, because later on we will know he was killed by Krishna. And Krishna killed him with his Sudarshana Chakra. Now remember, Krishna has killed his opponents, the demons, demoniac persons, not by Sudarshana Chakra. He killed only two by Sudarshana Chakra. That is, one is Satadhanva, and the other is, anybody can answer?
Shishupal. Shishupal.
Shishupal. Yes. Because it is very, very auspicious thing to be get killed by the the Sudarshana Chakra. Now, as the women of Satrajit's palace, they screamed helplessly when the king Satrajit died, and Satadhanva had taken the jewel also, and he went away. And now Satyabhama, when she saw her dead father, she was plunged in great grief. And what she did, she put the body of her father in a large vat of oil, and she went to Hastinapur, where she sorrowfully told Lord Krishna. But Krishna was already aware of the situation about her father's murder. Let us go to the next slide. Now, Queen Satyabhama was overcome with grief at the death of her father, and she rushed to Hastinapur to report the sorrowful news to Krishna together with Balrama. Krishna then returned to Dwarka to kill Satadhanva. They came back, and Satyabhama's heartbreak, the devastating murder plunges Satyabhama into profound sorrow as she seeks solace from Krishna desperately, wishing for her father's revival. She thought Krishna may revive his father to life. Now her distress is understood by the complex relationship she had with her father, who was harbored disdain for Krishna. Now here you see, Satyabhama's husband was Krishna. Satyabhama loved Krishna, but Krishna was not loved by Satyabhama's father. But still then, because he was her father, she had this relationship with him, and she had preserved his body also, and she wanted her to be revived. And now Satyabhama's sorrow serves as a poignant reminder of the pain that attachment brings. We have to be very careful our worldly attachments. Attachment means we have to have attachment, but too much of attachment is not good at all. And too much of detachment, that is total detachment, and that is also not possible in our life. That's why we should, what should we do? We should transfer this attachment to attachment of the Supreme Lord. If we feel the Supreme Lord is attached to us like all our worldly attachments, then that will bring us good results, and not these worldly attachments, because as we already know, these worldly attachments, they are transitory in nature. Like somebody's life is transitory. If one has taken birth in this world, he has to die someday. There is no doubt about it. So, but that is the reason we should not be too much attached. Then attachment to one's wealth. The wealth is there for some time only. It will not remain forever. After some time, it will go. It will go means somebody will take it, or the government will take it, or it will be lost some other way, or the offsprings, the children, they will spend it and lose it. It has to go. Nothing is permanent. You build a house, it has got a particular life. It will go after some time. So therefore, one should not be too much attached to it. Then her narrative illustrates the transitory nature of existence and emphasizes importance of detachment for attaining inner peace amidst life's inevitable losses. There will be losses in life. The dear ones will go away because that is the law of nature. But we should not lose our heart. And if we are detached, then we will have peace of mind. Now, what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has to say, why did Satyabhama go to Hastinapur? People said that since her husband was the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has got all the powers. She thought she could have him revived back to life. For that reason, Satyabhama went to Hastinapur. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying. And not out of affection for her father, because her father disliked Krishna. And by her grieving, Satyabhama was encouraging Krishna to appear to show grief as well. Now, according to Jiva Goswami, Satyabhama's anguished feeling and words at the death of her father were prompted by Krishna's pastime potency, that is the Leela Shakti, to prepare for the Lord's violent reaction against Satadhanva. Now, please understand very, very clearly what we are talking of detachment. We should not have attachment. Means detachment, it is not insensitiveness. Because if you are insensitive to your own relations in our worldly relations, then everything will be spoiled. We should be, we should get attached. There is no doubt about it. There will be attachment. But it should not be so much that we get totally destroyed because of that. Now, let us see what happened thereafter. Now, when Krishna and Balrama they heard the news, they totally lamented at the death of King Satrajit, and as we knew, he was killed by Satadhanva. Now, what Satadhanva did? Satadhanva, he went first to Kritavarma. Now Kritavarma, he requested Kritavarma to save him because he knew that Krishna is going to kill him anyway and he is around only. But Kritavarma, he replied that I dare not offend the Supreme Lord Krishna and Balrama. How can can one invite trouble and take Krishna and Balrama as his enemy, because by doing this, one would expect any misfortune. Now, Kamsa and all his followers lost both their wealth and their lives because of enmity toward them. And after battling them 17 times, Jarasandha was left without even a chariot. Now, this is what Kritavarma is telling uh, Satadhanva. Now, his appeal was refused. Satadhanva, then he went to Akrura and begged him for protection. But Akrura also similarly told him, who would oppose the two personalities of the Godhead if he knew their strength? Everybody knows their strength, and they are the Supreme Lord, and nobody has the power to fight with them. That's why I'll also not be able to help you. Now, remember, they incited him, and when he came for help, they left him also. That's why Satadhanva, he had no other chance but to run away. Now, then let us go through this slide. As he became aware of Krishna's intent of vengeance, Satadhanva finds himself isolated in his treachery, reaching out to Akrura and Kritavarma, only to encounter their refusal to stand against Krishna's unstoppable power. Satadhanva's fear in the face of Krishna's wrath exemplifies the tension between self-preservation and the necessity of surrendering to a higher self. What should have happened there? He should have he should have surrendered to the Supreme Lord Krishna. Then Krishna would have left him. There is no other question of anything else. But because he didn't do that, therefore tension arose in his mind, and he wanted to save himself. That is self-preservation, but that could not happen. When you become an enemy of the Supreme Lord, or you think Supreme Lord is an enemy, for him nobody is enemy. But if somebody thinks Krishna is an enemy, then he cannot have protection from him under any circumstances, and he will be under tension. And this theme encourages exploration of how fear can propel desperate actions. He was totally fearful, and we'll see how he tries to run away. And it highlights the liberating path found in surrendering to the divine will, the only path which is left for human beings. Even if they commit any aparadh, even if they commit any sin or anything else, once they realize they have committed that, they should totally surrender to the Supreme Lord, and then only things will become all right. Otherwise, one will have misfortune. There is no doubt about it. Now, then what happened? Then Akrura, while he was talking to Satadhanva, he also told many things like it is the Supreme Lord who creates, maintains, and destroys this universe simply as a pastime. He doesn't have to exert himself. The cosmic creators cannot understand his purpose, and because they are all bewildered by his Maya Shakti. And as explained in Vedic literatures, the Supreme Lord expands himself into innumerable forms, yet he remains the one Almighty Lord. And for example, in Brahma Samhita, it is given that Advaitam Achyutam Anati Ananta Rupam, the one Supreme Lord is infallible, beginningless, and he expands himself into innumerable manifest forms. And out of regard for the spirit of the Lord's pastimes, in which he expands himself and appears as his own elder brother, that is Balrama, the Bhagavatam refers here to the two lords. But the bottom line is that there is one supreme personality of Godhead, one absolute truth, who appears in his original form as Krishna, and all others are his expansions. Now, another the comment by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Kritavarma told Satadhanva that ultimately, indeed, I have instigated you to murder Satrajit, but not out of enmity towards Krishna. However, if you do not want to surrender to Krishna, why should I follow you and also go against the Lord? This is what he said. And Kritavarma also said, Kamsa and his followers died and thus lost their everything, including their wealth, their family members, relations, everybody else. And this is because they rejected the Supreme Lord. And this same thing happened to Jarasandha also. And he also told so many instances what Krishna had did when he was a child. Let us go to the next slide. Now, together with Lord Balrama, Krishna then returned to Dwarka to kill Satadhanva. Satadhanva went to Akrura and Kritavarma to beg for help, and as we saw, they refused, and he left the jewel with Akrura and fled for his life. Krishna and Balrama, they pursued him. Now then what happened? Akrura's reflection, Akrura's sobering realization, Akrura's reflection on the futility of opposing Krishna brings forth the heart's truth of divine supremacy. He realized, he knew that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Nobody can fight with him and win. There is no chance at all. Therefore, he surrendered, and offering a sobering perspective on the consequences faced by those who dare to challenge the divine. Here in Bhagavatam, we have seen anybody and everybody who challenged Krishna, what happened to them. And anybody who surrendered to Krishna, to shelter of Krishna, what happened to them. We know all these things very, very clearly. Therefore, as a devotee, we should always surrender to the Supreme Lord. Now, the nature of divine supremacy. Now, Akrura's acknowledgement of Krishna's omnipotence emphasizes the philosophical understanding of divine superiority. The Lord, the Supreme Lord, He is the most superior, superior to anybody and everybody. Is superior to the not only the demigods but all other expansions also. It urges a humble recognition of our place within the cosmic order, reminding us that true power lies beyond human grasp. We cannot think of what is beyond us. That's why the only refuge for us is the Supreme Lord. We should surrender ourselves. We should have total faith on the Supreme Lord. Like I was explaining earlier also, this faith is very, very important. If we do not have faith, we do any other thing, it will not give us the full results. Okay, let us see what happened next. Now, Krishna and Balrama, they mounted on Krishna's chariot, and Krishna's chariot, as you know, it flies the flag of Garuda, and they went behind Satadhanva in great speed. Then what happened outside the city of outskirts of Mithila city? The horse which Satadhanva was riding collapsed, and terrified, he abandoned the horse and began to flee on foot when Krishna was in angry pursuit. Now, as Satadhanva fled on foot, now Lord Krishna also, he got down from the chariot and he started pursuing the Satadhanva by foot. Then at the end, he cut off his head with the Sudarshan Chakra. Then Lord searched for Satadhanva's upper and lower garments for the Shamantaka jewel, because they thought that the Shamantaka jewel is with him, but they could not find that. Then, not finding this, Krishna told Balrama that we have killed Satadhanva uselessly. The jewel is not here. Then to this Balrama replied that that means Satadhanva must have placed the jewel in the care of someone, and therefore we should go back to the city and find that person. And Balrama, he said, I wish to visit Videha, that is Mithila, because the king is very, very dear to me. Now, the king of Mithila, when he reached there later on, the king of Mithila, because he rose from his seat and he worshipped him. And Balrama, thereafter, as I told you earlier, stayed in Mithila for several years, honored by his affectionate devotee and of Mithila, that is Janak Maharaj. And during that time, Dhritarashtra's son Duryodhana learned from Balrama the art of fighting the club. And then what happened to Krishna? Krishna, he arrived in Dwarka and described the demise of Satadhanva to everybody, and his own failure to find the Syamantaka jewel. and he spoke in a way that would please Satyabhama. Satyabhama was very much pleased when she came to know that Satadanva, the killer of her father, has been brought to justice. But her father's Samantaka jewel still had not been recovered. And thus she was also pleased to hear the Lord Krishna's determination to recover it. Then what happened? Krishna, he carried out the funeral rites of Satrajit because the body had been preserved by Satyabhama. And when Akrura and Kritavarma had originally incited Satadhanma to commit his crime, heard that he had been killed, they fled Dwarka in terror and took residence elsewhere. They ran away from there. In Akrura's absence, what happened? Ill omens arose in Dwarka and the citizens began to suffer continuously from physical and mental diseases, and they were totally disturbed. Now, what were those things? Daivika, Adi Bhautika, etc. These are the disturbances caused by supernatural powers, and these disturbances often they manifest as natural calamities like earthquakes, tidal waves, or extreme weather conditions. Nowadays, materialistic people they attribute these disturbances to earthly causes, not realizing that they constitute punishment at the hands of superior beings. Therefore, when there is a storm, when there is an earthquake, when there is a natural calamity, we should remember that the populace as a whole must have committed something grossly wrong. That's why the Supreme Lord is punishing all of them together like this. This is very, very important. And Sridhar Swami says that Akrura took the Syamantaka jewel and went to reside in Kashi or Banaras, where he became known as Dhanapati because that jewel used to give 78 kgs of gold every day and he used to distribute in charity. He became a master of charity and there he executed fire sacrifices on golden altars with elaborate assemblies of qualified priests and some residents of Dwarka thought that the Supreme Lord's personal presence in Dwarka precluded that possibility. And because when the Lord comes to the earth, his pastime resembles those of human beings. And it appears that during the lives of many saintly persons and incarnations of the Supreme Lord, there always exists a class of people who fail to appreciate or who only occasionally appreciate the position of the great souls amongst them. On the other hand, the fortunate and the enlightened souls who recognize the true position of the Lord and its associates, they are supremely blessed. And what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur had to say, he says that in Banaras or Kashi, Akrura became famous for performing sacrifices and this pleased everybody. Let us go to the next slide. Now, ultimately, this chapter weaves together these profound themes encouraging a thoughtful reflection on the intersections of duty, morality, and intricacies of human and divine relationships. Now, we have to understand what is our duty, what we are supposed to do, not as per our intelligence, but as per what is given in the Shastras, as proclaimed, promulgated by the Supreme Lord. And what is our moral duty in the society? That we should always do and that should be kept in front. And the intricacies of human and divine relationship, the relationship between the Supreme Lord and the lesser human beings. What is that relationships? The lesser human beings, like all of us, we are the servants of the Supreme Lord. Our job is to serve the Supreme Lord under all circumstances. we should never try to lord over it. When Satrajit wanted to lord over it, that misfortune happened to him because of that. Okay. Escape and pursuit. After entrusting the jewel to Akrura, Satadhanva flees on swift horse, but Krishna and Balrama give chase in a strategic move. Krishna separates from Balrama. Now we will understand why the Balrama he wanted to stay in Mithila. We will try to understand that, allowing to extend mercy elsewhere as he closes in it on Satadhanva. Krishna and Balrama's relentless pursuit of Satadhanva symbolizes the quest for justice. When justice is required and it has not been given or it has not been achieved, the Supreme Lord Himself will give justice. We should have total faith on this and encapsulating the struggle between right and wrong, the consequences of one's actions, and ultimately the restoration of balance in the universe. Like even in the material world, you would have seen there are so many, say, murder, theft, dacoity, and anything. Someday they are going to be discovered only. It is not that they'll remain out of public view forever. It can never happen, and because the Lord does not want that. If that does not happen, then the Lord Himself will help this truth coming out. Now, on this point, what I was talking to you, what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur had to say, though Krishna knew that Akrura had the jewel, he made a show of searching for it in order to confuse Balrama, who was observing from a distance. Now, by doing this, Krishna was able to separate himself from Balrama so that Balrama could give his mercy to his pure devotee, King Bahulaswa, in Mithila. Now, we'll study in later on in this 10th canto in chapter 86 about Bahulaswa and Srutadeva Brahmana and King Bahulaswa of Mithila, how Krishna was so pleased with them that he came from Dwarka to meet his two devotees. This we will see later on. And that's why Krishna wanted the mercy to be given to King Bahulaswa by Balrama. That's why he separated him. That's why he stayed in Mithila for so many years to give him mercy. Let us go to the next. Okay, we'll have a 3 minutes break. Now, if there are any questions or comments on whatever we have covered till now, you may project it. We can discuss.
Prabhuji, I still don't understand why Krishna wanted to give mercy through Balram and not he himself being there. What is the background?
Because Krishna had another job to do and certain thing. Actually, if you see, there is no difference between Krishna and Balrama that we heard. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Various expansions are Balrama, even Rama and all others, and there is no difference amongst them. That's why he wanted to do something and he wanted to give some other duty to Balrama. That's what it happened. That means ultimately his own mercy was bestowed on the king. That's what he wanted. And later on, he would come from Dwarka to bestow his mercy only for this purpose, because these two, as I told you, the king and the priest, they wanted their best to go to Dwarka to meet Krishna, but they could not go due to some reason. That's why Krishna himself came. They are such great devotees. That's why the Krishna had to bestow his mercy toward them. So that is what is the reason. If we are pure devotees and we are not able to do something, then Krishna will get it done some other way. Like it is said, it is given in the Shastra that pure devotees, suppose they are not able to do something, then the Supreme Lord has earmarked 60 crore sadhus, tapasvis to do that job. So he has got some arrangement for us and he takes personal care of a pure devotee. We should have total faith on this.
Mm.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. That is wonderful. Yeah.
And
Prabhuji, another question I have that Lord Balaram went to Mithila and how he trained in Duryodhana, because Duryodhana is Hastinapur, right? So what is the connection? I lost that.
okay, he would have come there because he stayed many years. He would have come there only, otherwise how could he?
How
And
could you?
he was surrendered to him. That's why he taught. And as we have seen, I was telling you, he was always inclined toward Duryodhana. And he knew in the Mahabharata war they are going to lose and everybody will die. That's why he separated himself. He did not take part in the Mahabharata war. He went away. But at the end, just before Duryodhana dying,
Yes, sir.
he came. That story also we know.
And second, Prabhuji, the Sudama Hall, right? We talked about few chapters before because there is no death and all that, all the great thing which was Sudama Hall and Dwarika. But, suddenly Akrura's disappearance and calamities happening there, when in the presence of Lord also, right? So again, how to see that also?
Because this wrong thing happened, when the wrong thing happened, it is done by an individual or a group of individuals, then as I told you, the Lord sends all these calamities in the form of say, storms, earthquakes, or there are so many other things which keep on happening. It is because of that, because that area, that the general populace must have done something greatly wrong. That's why this would happen. This is to bring them to the correct path.
Mhm. So Dwarka also, it happened because of that. There's some part of the, that Dwarka city, some people were not good. So Lord instigated all those the calamities. So that's how we understand that sanctity of Dwarka city will go there.
Yes, yes. Like you were saying that Sudharma Hall, anybody who is inside the Sudharma Hall,
Okay.
he would be without, he won't feel like eating or drinking water. He would not sleep and nothing, no misfortune will happen to him. But it is outside this. But more than that, Krishna and Balrama, the Supreme Lord, they are there. No misfortune can ever take place there.
I haven't true.
But we also saw Krishna's own son getting stolen by a demon. All these things they happen because it is part of the lila also. And
Yeah.
he wants to teach us that if people do wrong things, then they will invite misfortune. At the end, what happened? Why he got all the Dwarkavasis, that is the Yadavas, got killed them. They fought with each other and killed. That will also come up later
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
It is because of that he didn't want
Lila.
to kill them after he goes from the material world. So
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
all these things are totally planned by him.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So what is the relation? Actually, he says that Akrura was uncle of Krishna. So what exactly is the relationship? How he becomes the uncle of Krishna?
Actually, he was uncle of Krishna. I am not remembering. I will answer in the next class.
Okay, Prabhu, thank you.
Relationship. I am straight away not remembering. Yes, but that is very true. He is uncle of Krishna only.
Yeah, because he was son of Shwafalka and Gandhini. So how is
Yes.
Shwafalka connected
Okay,
to? Okay, Prabhu,
will
thank you.
find out.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दूसरा भी एक पॉइंट ऐसा है कि ये द्वारका में ये सब कैलेमिटीज वगैरह आया क्योंकि कृष्णा जो है उनको अक्रूर को वापस बुलाना भी था कि वो क्योंकि उनका परम भक्त था और उनके अंकल भी थे तो वो उनको डायरेक्टली कोई पनिशमेंट ऐसे नहीं दे सकते जैसे शतधर्मा को दिया गया थे, मगर वो अदर वे राउंड उनको समझाना चाहते थे कि वो मनी आपके पास है। तो वो उनको ये बुलाने के लिए ये सब हुआ, क्योंकि तो बड़े लोगों को लगे कि कुछ इनकी वजह से कुछ हुआ, तो भाई अक्रूर आप आ जाओ, वापस आ जाओ। वो भी एक पॉइंट है प्रभु जी।
Yes, yes, everybody, the Krishna also knew that the jewel is with Akrura only. And it got lost, found, like this happening. At the end, he wanted to get it and show to the whole population what was the story. He had to tell, otherwise there will be misconception amongst the public. Now you see, the Lord is acting like a normal human being. Now the Lord is supreme. He has got all the powers. Mahamaya, Yogamaya, everybody, everything under his control. He could have just wished by his affirmation that let the doubt be cleared in everybody's minds. It would have been cleared. But he didn't want to do that because he was doing the Nar Leela. He was doing the Leela in this material world. That's why he did what we expect somebody to do. And that is the way we understand. So that was his aim. Why he had come from the Golak Vrindavan? Because of these reasons for doing Leela. Yes, Charo Prabhuji, you wanted to say something.
No, I'm okay. Continue. See, there are many reasons. We'll, at the end of the discussion, we'll talk about it.
Okay, Prabhuji. So, if there are no other questions, then we'll go ahead. Now, next slide. Now, Krishna beheaded Satadhanva with his sharp-edged disc, that is the Sudarshan Chakra. Now, when the Lord could not find the Syamantaka jewel on Satadhanva's person, Balrama told him that Satadhanva must have left it in someone's care. He further suggested that Krishna return to Dwarka to find the jewel while he would take the opportunity to visit the king of Videha. Thus, Lord Balrama traveled to Mithila and remained there for a few years, during which he taught Duryodhana the art of fighting the club that we saw. Now, the performing final rites, Krishna honors Satrajit with funeral rites befitting his stature as a king. Meanwhile, upon learning how Satadhanva had met his death, Akrura and Kritavarma fled Dwarka, their complicity in the murder weighing heavily on their fates, with Akrura facing exile amongst Krishna's enemies in Benares. Benares, that is Kasi Benares, that is the same thing. Then Krishna solemnly performed the funeral rites for Satrajit, ensuring that necessary rituals honor his memory in response to their involvement in the crime. Akrura and Kritavarma flee to Dwarka, with Akrura facing exile and taking refuge in Kasi, where he finds himself among Krishna's adversaries. Now, what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur had to say, thinking that even though Krishna is omniscient, he is acting like this to fool me. Balrama concealed his anger because he was supposed to be bewildered by Krishna, and spoke in one of the verses, now that I would like to visit Mithila, you return to Dwarka and give the jewel to your beloved, but I'll stay here. That's why he left. Then the next slide. Soon many kinds of disturbances, mental, physical, and so on, began to afflict Dwarka, and the citizens concluded that the cause of these troubles must be Akrura's exile. The city elders explained once there was a drought in Benares, and the king of the region gave his daughter in marriage to Akrura's father, who was visiting Benares at that time. As a result of this gift, the drought ended. The elders, thinking Akrura had the same power as his father, declared that Akrura should be brought back because of the calamities. Now, reintegration of Akrura, Krishna orchestrates Akrura's return to Dwarka. Krishna wanted Akrura to come back to Dwarka from Kasi. arguing that his absence is not the root cause of the city's ongoing calamities, which included ominous signs of discontent and turbulence. Now, determining to restore harmony, Krishna masterminds Akrura's return to Dwarka, firmly believing that Akrura's absence is not to blame for the misfortunes plaguing the city, which included the specific details are given in the various verses in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the commentaries of the Acharyas, including Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. What Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur had to say is that he says that due to his offense of taking away Krishna from Brajagopis, Akrura was forced to live in Kasi amongst Krishna's enemies, to suffer in separation from him, from his worshipable Lord. And the many years Baladev also stayed in Mithila, and Akrura also stayed in Kasi. And hearing how Akrura was giving charity to many Brahmanas and doing the sacrifices there, the Dwarkavasis, they gossiped that Krishna, considering Akrura a rival, has sent him in exile to Kasi. And that's why he is not here. And though Balrama, Rukmini and others did not believe the rumors, but to dispel this new and incredible stain in his reputation and character, Krishna created various calamities in Dwarka and thus induced the citizens to call for Akrura's return, which Krishna then ordered. And after the proposition that Dwaraka was suffering due to the influence of time, the Sukdev Goswami, in one of the verses, he says that Vaishampayana Rishi, forgetting their previous words in praise of Krishna, began to speak. This is in Mahabharata. The scripture states that even a single sage living in the town, then by his influence there can be no calamities. And what to talk of the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he was staying in that city? How can there be calamities? This is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is trying to say. Because in Akrura's absence, ill omens arose, and as we learned, that was not actually because of Akrura's absence. It was because of something else. It was because of Krishna's will only. And okay, next. Now Krishna and Akrura brought back to Dwaraka. Krishna had Akrura brought back to Dwaraka, that is, Akrura came back from Kasi, and after properly honoring him with worship and greeting him with sweet words, he knew the complete story, he knew the everything, but still then in public he honored him and worshipped him with sweet words, and Krishna told him, I know Satadhanva left the jewel in your care. And since Satrajit had no sons, his daughter's offsprings are the just claimants to whatever property he is left behind. That is, this Shyamantaka jewel is the property of the sons of Satrajit's daughter and nobody else, because he does not have any son. Nonetheless, it would be better to keep the troublesome jewel in your care. Krishna is telling it should be with you. Just let me show it once again to my relatives. Akrura presented Krishna with the jewel. Then Krishna said, just let me show it once to my relatives. Then Akrura presented the jewel, which shone as brilliantly as the sun. And after the Lord had shown it to his family members, he returned it to Akrura. It went back to Akrura. Now, in a significant discussion on Satrajit's estate, Krishna asserts that the jewel, while be safeguarded by Akrura, must also be displayed to quell doubts amongst the relatives. shedding light on the profound implication of inheritance laws and their moral weight in societal structures. The society, they should not talk something else. That's why he did this. And inheritance matters. The dialogue is critical as it reveals how inheritance laws intertwine with familial trust and responsibility. With this, when we read the commentaries of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, what he had to say, he said, the Krishna is super soul. He knows everyone's heart, but Krishna knows all the super souls who are in the hearts of all the living beings. Therefore, what is so remarkable? Thus, Krishna was smiling and he said that you had no enmity against Satrajit, nor did you steal the jewel. Moreover, you are not greedy for the wealth. Rather, you are my exalted devotee, and I know even the super soul who resides within you. And so, why are you afraid of me? When he came to him, he said, then regarding the law of inheritance, the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur what says, now Satrajit had no sons. That's why, and his wives also all had died along with him. And his daughter Satyabhama was not interested in the Samantaka jewel, which constituted the inheritance, although it rightfully belonged to her sons. And after offering water and pinda to their maternal grandfather and clearing his debts, Satyabhama's sons should accept the jewel. Now, the inheritance goes first to the wife. That that is, it should have it goes to Satyabhama now. Then, if the wife has passed away, to the daughters. Now, then to the parents, then to the brothers, and then to the brothers' sons, and then to the family members of the same Gotra as the deceased, and then to his disciples, including the brahmachari. This is what our Vedic system says. But our inheritance laws are somehow somewhat similar to this, but not exactly like this. Okay, we go to next. Now, conclusion. This chapter not only explores the consequences of greed and the interwoven complexities of familial and divine relationships, but also highlights Krishna's omniscience and benevolence. Krishna is omniscient. He knows everything. Everything is happening because of his will. And even we should know that even if we commit some mistake at any point of time, he is still benevolent to all of us. There is no doubt about it. It powerfully elucidates themes of duty, the perilous consequences of greed. Now, you saw in this whole story started because of greed only. Had Satrajit given this Samantaka jewel to the king, then all these things what happened, it would not have happened. And the intricate dynamics of familial and divine connections, and while showcasing Krishna's divine wisdom and compassion, because of his the wisdom, he resolved the matter. And triumph and redemption, Krishna persuades Akrura to publicly exhibit the jewel. As you saw earlier, Krishna asked him to exhibit the jewel so that all the Dwarka Vasis, everybody in the society should see this. Because otherwise, due to some misspelled thing, they may doubt Krishna. There are therefore dispelling rumors and restoring faith by the general populace. And by returning the jewel after showcasing it, Krishna emphasizes its role in cleansing sins and renewing reputations for those who engage in it. Now, ultimately, what happened? He gave it to Akrura to keep it till the sons of Satyabhama they inherit it or they take it. Now, thereby what he did, all the sins committed by Akrura in connection with the jewel that we have seen earlier, that got totally erased, and his reputation also got revived. And this is what is the greatness of the Supreme Lord. And Krishna skillfully persuades Akrura to exhibit the jewel, thereby dispelling the malicious rumors surrounding him. That is Krishna. And after the display, Krishna ensures the jewel is returned to Akrura, reinforcing the narrative significance in purifying reputations and absolving sins of those who engage in it. And that means for the second time, doubts about the Lord's reputation occasioned by the Shamantaka jewels, they are dispelled by the jewel itself. And for the second time, the Lord brought the jewel to Dwarka to establish his integrity there. Therefore, one of the lessons is this emerging series of events which we have seen in last two sessions that demonstrate that even when Krishna descends to this world, there is a tendency for his peers to criticize him. Criticizing, he won't be out of it. And another lesson, the whole material world is infested by the fault finding propensity of the human beings. And in this chapter, the Supreme Lord demonstrates the nature of his this undesirable quality. Let us go to the next slide. Now the instructive questions and their answers. Question 1. What specific actions did Satrajit take that initially drew the envy and the manipulation of Akrura and Kritavarma? Now, Satrajit likely drew the envy and manipulation of Akrura and Kritavarma by boasting about the Shamantaka jewels, divine attributes, and wealth. Wealth means it was giving 78 kgs of gold every day, which may have created feelings of inadequacy and jealousy amongst them, because it was giving so much of gold that to every day Akrura and Kritavarma might have become jealous because of this reason. And the second is his refusal to share the jewel's blessings or publicly acknowledge Krishna's role in bestowing it would have further inflamed their resentment. This also we spoke in detail because both Akrura and Kritavarma, they wanted this jewel to be given to the king as per Krishna's instructions, but it was refused by Satrajit, and that's why everything happened. Then the second question is, how did the Shamantaka jewel's protective qualities become overshadowed by the tragedy surrounding in the eyes of the community? It happened twice, that is to Prasena and to Satrajit also. Both of them died, although it meant to protect anybody and everybody. Now the protective qualities of the Shamantaka jewel became overshadowed by the tragedy as the community witnessed the consequences of Satrajit's pride and the resulting murder. Because he had great pride, he did not obey Krishna's orders, and that led to his murder. And this shift in perception illustrates how material possessions can quickly lose their revered status when associated with negative events, leading to a collective cautionary perspective on wealth and divine gifts. Now, all these material things like wealth, how they are leading to all these negative events, and all the negative things happen in this because of this. And that's why it is written here how material possessions can quickly lose their relevance, revert the status when associated with negative events. All these negative events, they covered up this. And the third question, what steps did Queen Satyabhama take after her father's death to deal with the grief and to support her relationship with Krishna? Now, after her father's death, Satyabhama likely struggled with an intense grief and sought solace in her devotion to Krishna. And the next point, she may have actively participated in rituals or prayers to honor her father's memory, while also trying to understand her new emotional landscape, ultimately seeking strength through her relationship with Krishna, especially as he avenged her father's murder and restored a sense of justice. Everything was achieved. Now, to this, all these, what Srila Prabhupada comments elsewhere in Bhagavatam, he says that in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that anyone who hears the story of Syamantaka jewel or describes it or simply remembers it will be free from all kinds of defamation and reactions of all impious activities, and thus will attain the highest perfectional condition in life. And it is interesting that Akrura and Kritavarma, although involved in conspiracy that resulted in the murder of King Satrajit, were not punished by Krishna. They had become involved in this sinful conspiracy only for the purpose of handing over the Syamantaka jewel to Lord Krishna. They understood that Satrajit was materially attached to the jewel and was hoarding it for himself rather than properly engaging it in the service of Krishna and the inhabitants of Dwarka. Now, this story indicates that if one's motive is to please Krishna or his pure devotees, he can perform all kinds of work without getting a material reaction. Although the same work done by a self-motivated materialist might bring a severely harmful reaction to that person. So this is all the things. These are the things we learn from this murder of Satrajit and recovery of the jewel and this story. I hope you have understood everything and liked this story. I have finished my presentation. Now the session is open for question and answers.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
So wonderful story, Prabhuji. Lost and found. Hare Krishna
Lost and
Prabhuji.
found, yes.
प्रभु जी 78 kg पर डे जो सोना मिलता होगा तो आज की जो वैल्यू होती है कितना रुपी का होता होगा और आज 1 ग्राम का 10,000 रुपया भाव है मतलब 1 ग्राम
Yeah,
का
it is per 10 grams it is about 1 lakh in India. That means 78 crore rupees per day.
ओहो
78 crores per day. But you see, a devotee like Akrura, he was also distributing it in Kashi. He was distributing it to various people.
यस प्रभु जी तो वो दान देते थे इसीलिए वो मतलब वो अपना जो सीन है उसको वो कर रहे थे है ना
Yes. He was doing that. Actually, he is a devotee, but because of Vaishnava Aparadha, he got involved in this. And same as Kritavarma, he is also a great devotee of the Supreme Lord. He is the commander of Krishna's army, but still he had to do this because of his offenses, because he associated with Kamsa. Now, therefore, it is extremely important. We should not associate with sinful persons. And there are no dearth of sinful persons. That means in the material world at present, we should associate with a minimum number of people on a required basis. That is very important. Many of you may disagree with me, but this is the thing. Many of the misfortunes we encounter because of associating with sinful people. Like then one may ask, who are the sinful people? Like all these sins, what I discussed, the Mahapaps, the 5 Mahapapis, and all the other people are doing so much of harm to the society, we should not associate with them at all. If we have got some urgent work or official work or business work, we should associate for only that much time, that much period. Otherwise, there is no question. We should disassociate with such people. Otherwise, we'll also invite misfortune in our lives, like Kritavarma and Akrura. So this is very, very important in our life. Many of you may not fully agree with me, but I fully subscribe to this. We should not associate with sinful people. And there are enough numbers visible, available, or seen in the society in the present day.
That's true. इवन आहार शुद्धि भी नहीं होती है तो भी हमारा पूरा गड़बड़ हो जाता है भक्ति में। हमें तुरंत ही मालूम पड़ जाता है कि कुछ गड़बड़ी हुई है। अगर कुछ कहाँ पे जाना पड़ा और शुद्ध आहार नहीं मिला तो भी मालूम पड़ता है कि कुछ डिस्टरबेंस हो ही जाता है।
Yes, like ahar, all these ahar is also that is also, since time is there, I will explain a little bit more. Ahar Suddhi means what? Not only that what is to be eaten, that should be offered to the Lord. That is, we should take prasada. That is one point. That is the other point is the money from which this earning, from which all these ingredients are coming for making prasad, they should be the proper way. And this is for our jiva, that is the tongue. And what about the ahar for the eyes? We should see whatever we are supposed to see. We should not see what is not supposed to be seen by us. Like ears, what is ahar for the ears? It is what is not required for the ears to hear, like the film songs, the various material things that we are not supposed to hear. But many a times we hear them willfully, neglectfully, or even with intention. And with all these, like all our senses, we engage them in ahara or food of not the proper kind. That's why we are getting affected. As we know, in the Kali Yuga, nothing is pure, but we are also making them more impure. That's why this is our state. Even if, even after doing the sadhana for so many years, we have not come to the stage where we should have been. It is because of this, and hearing all this, knowing all these things, we develop desires. Now, the desires, they are the greatest impediments in our spiritual life. Any type of desire. That's why what is said in the Shastras, you should be desireless. But we cannot be desireless. That is not possible at all. That's why we should have desires which are connected to the Supreme Lord. Like you desire the Lord should give me that much strength so that I can pray Him, so that I go back to Golok Vrindavana and serve Him. That is perfectly all right. If you say, the Lord, please be merciful to me, give me a chance to stay in Vrindavana or in any of the holy places, that is all right. But other material things, that is not correct, because about the material things, if one wish is there, even if it is fulfilled, then another wish or desire, it crops up in the mind, and it is never stopping. It stops, it does not stop at all. That's why there is no end to this, and this is what is doing harm to us. And if we limit our desires, we'll be developing in our spiritual path. That we should remember. This is very, very, very important. Small little things, but they are quite important.
Very true, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
प्रभु जी
Prabhu.
दूसरा भी
Goodness,
एक पॉइंट
Prabhu.
आता है प्रभु जी प्लीज कैरी ऑन प्लीज कैरी ऑन
Anani, Prabhu. So wonderful, so wonderful teachings. Totally agree with the association with that. But it's very difficult. Like you end up, like, sometime in the work and all, the association is more than just minimum this thing. So yeah, that does impact, but we can clearly see how that creates an impact when we follow the instruction properly or we don't able to follow. So there. So Prabhuji, so these are very, very important instructions, Prabhu, you gave today, and thank you very much. So one question about Kritavarma. Isn't Kritavarma also fighting in the battle of Mahabharata, and he is siding the Kaurav side because Krishna gave the Yadu army to Kaurav? Is that correct, Prabhu?
Yeah. Krishna, as we know the story in Mahabharata, both Duryodhana and Arjuna, they came at the same time and they asked for whatever they wanted. And Arjuna, he wanted Krishna only. And the Narayani Sena was given to Duryodhana, and Narayani Sena, the commander was Kritavarma. That's why Kritavarma fought from Duryodhana's side. And
Yes.
Satyaki, he was also a devotee, and Satyaki, with his army, he fought from Krishna's side, that is Pandava's side. That is true.
So then, were they not all killed after Mahabharata? No. So everybody in Mahabharata war was killed, right? Including
Not
the
everybody.
Yadu, or not?
Not everybody.
Okay.
6 people were saved.
Yeah, I mean everybody except the Pandavas, right? That's what I.
Pandavas,
Pandava,
Kripacharya.
Kripacharya, Kritavarma, Ashwatthama.
So Kritavarma was saved in that battle,
Yes,
and
yes,
then.
yes.
Okay.
Kritavarma.
So chronologically, this incident happened before Mahabharata or after, if you know?
Which thing?
The jewel, Samantak jewel thing.
That happened way before Mahabharata war.
So then,
कि प्रभु
how
जी
did
ये पास टाइम में आया
so
ना कि दुर्योधन को सिखाया बलराम जी ने तो अभी तक तो युद्ध नहीं हुआ है ना तो
Yes.
पहले हाँ
नहीं, लेकिन अभी आपने बोला ना, like Kritavarma was killed by Krishna then, right?
No, Kritavarma is
Oh,
not
that
killed
was
by Krishna.
Shatadhanva. Okay, Shatadhanva.
Shatadhanva.
Okay. I understand. Okay. I got confused. Okay, that's clear now. Yes, thank you.
Kritavarma and Akroti, they are his great devotees actually, you know. And momentarily they kind of seem like a dishonest thing, you know. Akrura did that thing. But ultimately he is a great devotee of the Lord, you know.
Yes.
And even in Kashi Banaras, he was using the gold for good purpose.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
There
Yes,
is
it's clear
question.
now. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Let's open up for the discussion.
Any other?
I'm assuming, Prabhuji, you're not done yet, right? Are you?
Pardon, Prabhuji?
You're not done yet, right? Finish. Do you finish?
Yes, I have already finished.
Okay.
Question answer session.
Okay, all right.
Any other question? Raksha Mataji, you were asking something?
No, Prabhuji, I have asked already.
Okay. So here, what is the biggest lesson? Don't associate with non-devotees. And who is a non-devotee? Anybody who is not worshipping Krishna. And that you will find 99% of the people.
प्रभु जी अटैचमेंट और डिटेचमेंट में जो हम फंस जाते हैं मतलब हमें मालूम है फिर भी हम जो अटैचमेंट रख देते हैं आ ही जाता है मतलब ऐसा नहीं होता है कि हम इतना आगे थोड़े थोड़े कर रहे हैं मगर फिर डिटेच हो जाए, मगर फिर भी अटैच डिटेच होना, इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर अस प्रभु जी.
Yes, yes, it is very easy to say get detached, but
हाँ प्रभु जी.
you see, our family members with whom you are spending the whole time, how can you get detached? But what is being said, don't get too much attached so that it affects you forever.
So
It
it's like give one hand, take another with another hand. So that means you develop attachment for Krishna in his service. The detachment from material things is automatically going to be taken off, taken care of. Artificially, you cannot do it. Artificially, you cannot do it. It's by surrendering to Krishna, everything that you do it for him, things automatically, everything gets purified,
Yes प्रभु जी.
This is most important point what Prabhuji gave. If you get attached to Krishna, and how do you get attached to Krishna? By serving him and with his mercy. Then what will happen? Then the material detachment will come automatically.
and sadhu sangha, that will help you.
Sadhu Sangha is most important. The most important thing in life is Sadhu Sangha only. And that will create detachment. And if we just try to practice it artificially, firstly, we cannot practice it, and it will not work only. So there is only one formula to get attached to Krishna and detached to the material world. That is the only formula. There is no other formula for this.
Yes प्रभु जी, very true.
But Chitta Shuddhi karena, and Chitta Shuddhi means this mind-body complex that when you engage in Krishna's service, so that is the cause of our material existence, right? With thorn, you remove another thorn, right? The cause of that material existence, which is the mind-body complex, if that itself you use in the service of the Lord, that is called Chitta Shuddhi. And then you come to the mode of goodness, Sattva Guna. And Sattva Guna will make you behave, act in a righteous manner, dharma. So you remain on the side of dharma and you stay away from adharma. So these are all these wonderful, wonderful instructions are there in Bhagavatam. That's all we need to apply, and we keep repeatedly hearing that. That is what's going to help us to prepare our Chitta Shuddhi. Remember the Shrutam Svakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana. Just 5 verses.
Yes
I keep
Prabhuji.
repeating like a broken record. But that
Yes,
tells you
yes.
exactly, Krishna himself will prepare you for that, He will remove the influence of the lower modes and establish Sattva Guna. Then we automatically act righteously. Okay.
And another very important thing for Chitta Shuddhi is to keep the remembrance of the Lord all the time. Now, because of our imperfections, this remembrance goes away most of the time. But we should try our best to remember the Lord in our mind, even if we are doing anything. And if we do that, then this Chitta Shuddhi will be done automatically.
See, in a Gaudiya Sampradaya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given a wonderful, wonderful daily activities that Prabhupada brought to the West, right? Right from morning, you wake up early morning, you do Bhagavatam, listen to the discourses, attend Mangala Arti, the flowers offered to the Lord, you smell, you take Arati, all these things, then automatically you will get a devotee association, eat Krishna Prasadam. These are the fundamental ways Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us through Srila Prabhupada, the parampara, guru parampara system. We got all this. If you follow that, that is the right way of how we should conduct yourself. Exactly in a practical way, that method is given to us, right? Do you agree or not?
Yes, Prabhuji, 100%.
So that's exactly we should follow.
We need to
And
be
avoid,
very strict with ourselves.
yes, sadhu sangha and avoid asad sangha. Okay, Prabhu, any other questions, comments? I just wanted to say a few things in the lecture. It came up the topic about, right, this bad omens happening. That actually there's a reality is there, so truth is there, and we see several places in Bhagavatam. Remember when Arjuna went to Dwarka, Yudhishthira Maharaj had sent him, right? And then Arjuna did not return.
Yes.
All kind of bad omens happened, right? Because Krishna had already left the planet. So many different places that we hear this bad omen. It's not an andhashraddha, it is a fact. This happens. Some people, they have a psychic ability, something bad happening, going to happen, that is, particularly these with the divine things that might be happening, earthquake, all these things. It gives certain signals to some people psychically. They can tell that. Actually, interesting. It just came to my mind. One of my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, he lives in Mandvi, Mandvi, Kutch. There was a big earthquake happened in Kutch.
Yes,
My brother,
Prabhuji.
yes,
my brother-in-law,
2099.
yeah, a huge earthquake happened, and my brother-in-law, 2 days before, he told us this something is going to happen to like this. So many people have this psychic ability, they can tell the future events before it actually happens, So these are pre-planned things are there. And other things in Prithu Maharaj's story, we also learned, right? Mother Earth, when too many sinful activities are happening, too many sinful people are around, the Mother Earth withdraws all the things that we need for our sustenance. She withdraws, right? Then Prithu Maharaj actually help recover from Mother Earth, So these are kind of, when these calamities happens, natural calamity, it's not happening just like by some kind of accident. It's in throughout the world, so many terrible things are happening, like the war, unjust war is happening now. War itself is not to be blamed, right? Because Krishna said, to protect dharma, war is necessary. It's a necessity, But when the war is happened for some kind of a vicious thing, that is exactly happened before Mahabharata war. All these so many sinful kings that happened, and Mother Earth went for a help to Brahmaji. All these things we know that. So Mother Earth reacts to that, and only these people who are pious, Krishna conscious people, they give these discourses, and based on Bhagavatam, based on our Shastra, they teach us how to conduct ourselves, and things still it is not in our control. Only way we can control ourselves by letting Krishna control our senses. So the senses of the mind is also not in our control. Even if you are a devotee, it's not in our control. We need His grace. And that is why we chant Hare Krishna and follow Krishna conscious activities. Right from morning, we wake up till we go to sleep in the night. Throughout the day, if you remain in that kind of schedule, devotee schedule that Prabhupada has given us, and that is coming through all the way from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, so the formula is there. It's up to us how we conduct ourselves. So I just wanted to share with you that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
थैंक यू प्रभु जी फॉर वंडरफुल एक्सप्लेनेशन। प्रभु जी दूसरा भी एक एग्जांपल मुझे याद आया प्रभु जी, गजेंद्र मोक्ष में ग्राह का भी भगवान ने सुदर्शन से ही मारा था भाई।
Yes, yes, yes.
हाँ, मुझे एकदम अचानक वो एग्जांपल याद आ गया। ओके प्रभु जी।
Any other question or comments? If no comments, then we meet next week. We'll hear also wonderful stories. Here till now we heard how Krishna married Rukmini, Satyabhama and Jambavati. Now the other 5 princesses he will marry. That will come up in the next class. And also Narkasura's story, that is also very, very interesting. All these things will come up in the next the weekend.
So I shared with you, remember that we just completed 100th lesson.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, प्रभु जी,
It's again,
congratulations।
it's all by the mercy of a Guru Parampara. 100th lesson. Samata Mataji is going to deliver that lesson. So she
Yes,
was also
yes.
arranged by divine arrangement. Is Samata Mataji is around?
नो प्रभु जी,
Hey, Samta Mataji was here. Acha, not now.
નથી प्रभु जी,
Okay.
નથી।
Okay.
Left.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, Sharath is up to you to conclude the class or what?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Then we meet next weekend. Then we'll conclude today's class with the Nrsimha prayers.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlada Ladadaini. Prahlada Ladadaini. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha. हिरण्यकाशीपूर्वक्षः शिलाटङ्कानखालये शिलाटङ्कानखालये तो नरसिंहा परतो नरसिंहा इतो नरसिंहा परतो नरसिंहा यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहा यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहा बहे नरसिंहा हृदये नरसिंहा बहे नरसिंहा हृदये नरसिंहा नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे तव करकमल वरेणाखाम् अद्भुत शृङ्गान्दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गा वृषभधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। ऋषिकदेव भगवान की जय, भक्तराज प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. All glories to the devotees. Then we'll meet next weekend for the lessons 95 and 96.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Thank you very
Dandavat
much.
pranam.
Hare
Happy
Krishna,
Ekadasi to
Hare
all.
Krishna,
Thank you, Sanjay.
Happy Ekadasi.
Thank you, Sanjay Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you, all
Mataji.
devotees.
Dandavat pranam to all.
Thank you, Sanjeev Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Hare
And
Krishna
all the
Charu Prabhuji.
participants. Hari Bol.
Hari
Hare
Bol.
Krishna. Hare Krishna Charu Prabhuji. The weekend of July 4th, I'll be there in Baltimore for the memorial of our Guru Maharaj.
Oh, then please let us meet somewhere,
Yes, Prabhuji.
Baltimore will be coming, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, I'll see if I can come there, Thank you very
Yes,
much.
please do
for
see
telling
your
us.
health, Prabhuji, with no pressure. But
No, I'm okay by the grace of the Lord, and the devotees. The crisis looks like it's happily going to be resolved for my brother situation.
oh, that's very nice. That's very
But
nice.
he still has a cancer, and so the treatment will continue after he recovers from this. Hare Krishna.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Lord Narasimha will bless him. We'll pray, Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Praying
Prabhu.
for his speedy recovery. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
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 Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare.
Jai Shri Prabhupada,
Jai
Jai
Shri
Shri
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada. Govindam Adi Purusham Tavam Bhajami.